Oh, maybe. Yes.
Last Ball, siêu sơ hạng chất chính hãng, free ship toàn quốc không đồng, chốt đơn ngay.
Alright, I'm here to show you the new King Dragon figure from U2's. This is going to be on sale on August 19th, starting at noon Pacific time. Now, this is limited edition. Once this is sold out, it will never be sold again. So please don't harass me if you miss this. You just gotta be on the ball. I commissioned my good friend Steve Yurko. This is his Twitter. To help me design the character. On the back, he's got his wrap. I wrote all this or decided what would be on the box. And there he is. It's King Dragon himself. He is holding a microphone for a cool rap, if you know that particular skit. I figured it'd be fun to throw that in there. But yeah, I think this turned out great. Be aware that August 19th at noon, this guy's dropping. Limited supply. There is also a giveaway. There's a link down there if you want to enter to try to win one of these for free. The directions for that are in the link below. Alright, see ya.
Right, so this is getting started. I've decided to start the timer as soon as I hit Swedish, and there I'm typing the URL /learn to shortcut to this page. I need to deal with that pop-up quickly, unfortunately, and then I get down to checkpoint 4, which is the last level, which will let me get the trophy. So now it's just regular Duolingo, although unfortunately there is like a lot of questions because it's the final checkpoint. However, you can skip all the rest of it because it's any percent, whatever that means. This is not a perfect run in any way. There are a lot of minor mistakes here and there. See a little mistype there, as you see. Really, the point of this video is more to inspire other people to do Duolingo speedruns, because I think it's a fun idea as your average linguistics nerd. So, for me personally, I would like to see more people do this kind of thing. This is not, instead of one of my regular videos, there will be a normal video with the Patreon supporters and everything up very soon. So don't worry about that, which will have a script and everything and won't be as weird as this one. Here you see I almost typed breadth, which I don't know if that's a word in English actually, someone will have to tell me.
Contrary to popular belief, being cold won't actually give you a cold. You are actually more likely to catch a cold in a hot and crowded room than outside in the chilly air. There is no correlation whatsoever between a cold and the cold. You will need to be exposed to an actual virus in order to get sick. Picking up a baby bird and returning it to their nest will not cause the mother to reject them. People believe that because they're now contaminated with their scent, the mother won't want them. Birds don't actually have a very strong sense of smell to begin with, so don't worry, they won't jump to abandon them anytime soon. I bet you didn't know that shaving doesn't actually make your hair grow back thicker. Hair follicles naturally taper at the end, making what you see appear to be the thinner part of the hair. When you shave, you are exposing the thickest part of your hair, which may also appear to be darker because you are seeing the thickest part flat against your skin. Contrary to
Welcome back to the Digital Workplace Games. Technologists, take your marks.
In 2015, researchers from the Florida State University set out to do what Aperture Science has allegedly been doing for many years, doing actual science with portals. In their abstract they wrote, "While many researchers believe that problem-solving skills can be improved via video gameplay, few empirical studies support this claim." So, they performed such a study. More precisely, they compared players of the game Portal 2 to people playing on the service called Lumosity, which according to Lumosity itself is the world's most popular brain training program involving many quick brain games in an attempt to help people with all sorts of cognitive tasks. To summarize the results using the researchers' own words, "We tested subjects randomly assigned to play Portal 2 or Lumosity for 8 hours. All were pre and post tested on problem solving, spatial skills and persistence. Portal 2 players scored higher than Lumosity on all 3 constructs, and Portal 2 players also showed significant gains on spatial tests. Lumosity subjects showed no gains in any measure." It is interesting that Portal 2 players seem to score particularly well on spatial tests. Might playing this game really improve one's spatial reasoning so much? Let's do a quick test. Suppose a laser hits a wall portal like so. If I now place the orange portal next to it, in which direction will the laser come out? Out of the portal? To the left? Or to the right? Think about it for a few moments and make a guess. The answer is to the right. Did you get it? It's an interesting fact that in spite of Portal 2 apparently training players so well in spatial reasoning, there's this great variety of puzzle mechanics involving the spatial orientation of both portals and the objects traveling through them that are only rarely used to their advantage by both players and map makers. Orientation is a subtle concept, especially when portals are involved. In this video, we will explore what kinds of mechanics can be achieved with this idea. So without further ado, let's talk about orientations in Portal 2. To understand the basics of portal orientation, we must first understand how the game places portals on various surfaces. Namely, it matters quite a bit whether the surface is horizontal or vertical. Shooting a portal at a wall surface will always result in a portal with the bottom at the, well, bottom, and the top at the top. There's no way to flip it around, so to speak. Things are different when placing portals on the floor or on the ceiling, however. Since there's no natural concept of up and down, the game will always place the portal with the bottom facing towards the player and the top will face away. This means that, unlike with wall surfaces, it is perfectly possible to flip portals around in this case. And this fun little observation already allows for some interesting applications. The element that works most obviously well with this idea is the light bridge. As this tiny puzzle here shows, sometimes it's better to have the light bridge come out of the bottom of the portal, and sometimes we want it to come out of the top. If the light bridge is mounted on the ceiling, for example, we can choose which of the two we want, creating interesting situations. And a very quick disclaimer, if you want to avoid spoilers for the puzzles that I will discuss in this video to illustrate the concepts, I've left links to all the maps in the order of their appearance in the description below. To give an example from a fairly recent map, let us look at Hugging Sunlight by Elfie5. Here we must reach the exit by flinging out of this floor surface to gain some height, after which we must use the light bridge to walk to the exit. The light bridge is attached to the ceiling, so it seems to be a good idea to somehow leave our portal on the ceiling, then go through it and jump into the floor to complete the map. But how do we set it up? To get our portal on the ceiling, we must use this pit, but we notice that if we jump in, we don't quite reach the ceiling. How do we get the extra height? The subtle trick here is to use different orientations of the light bridge. To cross this gap, we must have the light bridge come out of the bottom of our portal. Then we use this surface to return to the light bridge, flip it around, and as such enable ourselves to walk along the top of the light bridge here. This gives us just enough extra height to pull off our strategy. It's a very cool trick. A famous example of a map that exploits this idea very heavily is Mevius's Islands. In this map we have 3 light bridges, one of which is mounted on the ceiling. To reach it, some interplay between a high and a low light bridge is required, but the real fun begins when we gain access to it. Namely, from this position we can only get a low light bridge, so we must manually change it to a high bridge in order to do this. Now to make use of this surface, we need a low bridge again. After jumping into the floor here, we flip the light bridge around while flying through the air, move our portal and finally place the high light bridge here to allow us access to this ledge. Now we can easily reach the exit. A masterfully crafted map using 0 connections, cool light bridge logic and unique moves. Once again, I also made a little map illustrating this concept by myself. Here we want to take the cube across to the other side, but because we can only see the light bridge from this angle, we are stuck with a low bridge, whereas we need a high bridge. We can take the cube here though, but can we get it to the fizzler button? Ideally we drop it through the ceiling surface, but with our portal here, the cube keeps falling through too fast. If you remember my previous video about null portals, you will know what to do. You have to close your portals by walking through the fizzler, put the cube in place, and there we go. And now we can turn the light bridge around and take the cube to the other side. I'll leave the rest of the solution for you to figure out for yourself. Here's another fairly subtle idea that some players may not realize immediately. When gel hits the floor portal at an angle, it will come out of the other portal at an angle too. Depending on the orientation of the floor portal, this may make the gel drop to the floor immediately or fly upwards and land on the ground a lot farther. This is very useful to keep in mind should you ever find yourself in a situation in which the gel just doesn't seem to land right where you want it to. This can also be used as an intended mechanic in puzzles, as is beautifully illustrated by Libby Bapa's brass boulders. Here the player can choose which of the 2 islands, visible on the monitor, are to be painted with the repulsion gel or the cleansing gel, also commonly known as water. A very elegant design choice that removes the need for 2 separate sets of gel dispensers, further adding a fun magical twist. A similar idea is used in Nerdling Nation's beautiful hammer map called Component, but now involving the player himself. Here the faith blade launches us towards this floor surface at an angle. So if you put our other portal on the floor as well,